Ilhan Omar, a growing controversy? FBI inquiry sparks heated debate. It began as a murmur, an old rumor, long dismissed as political fiction. But suddenly, it was everywhere. Ilhan Omar, a sitting member of Congress, found herself at the center of a storm. The allegations? Immigration fraud. The claim? That she had once married a man alleged to be her brother to help him secure legal status in the United States. Social media went into overdrive. Old documents, forgotten testimonies, and resurfaced interviews began making the rounds. Conservative commentators and independent journalists dug into the details, asking the question, is there truth to this, or is it just another political attack? A prominent conservative host didn't hold back. They think we've forgotten. They think they got away with it. But let me remind you, there are serious allegations here, and the media refuses to touch it. Years ago, Omar had laughed off these claims, calling them absurd conspiracy theories. But this time, silence. And in politics, silence can be the loudest answer of all. The internet was on fire. Analysts pored over past news reports, public records, and documents. And then a marriage certificate surfaced. A journalist spoke on a podcast. Omar had a faith-based marriage in 2002 to Ahmed Hirsi. But in 2009, she legally married another man, Ahmed Elmi. Some within the Somali community claim Elmi was more than just another man. He was her brother. The host jumped in. And what happened next? The journalist continued. She quietly divorced him 8 years later. But here's what raises eyebrows. During those 8 years, Omar still lived with her first husband, had children with him, and referred to him as her spouse. So, why was she legally married to someone else? This wasn't just a niche internet theory anymore. It was becoming a full-blown political firestorm. Congressional Republicans stepped in, demanding answers. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna took to social media. If these allegations hold any truth, then a serious crime may have been committed. Immigration fraud is illegal and should be prosecuted. No one is above the law. Lauren Boebert chimed in. Any regular American would be behind bars for this. So, where is the DOJ? Where is the FBI? But mainstream media largely dismissed the claims. At a press briefing, a CNN reporter stated, there is no verified evidence of immigration fraud. These allegations have been debunked before. Yet, the public wasn't convinced. They saw documents, marriage records, and conflicting timelines. Inside Congress, whispers turned into urgent discussions. Would this be ignored again, or would there finally be an official inquiry? A conservative radio host put it bluntly. If this were a Republican, they'd already be in handcuffs. Meanwhile, conservative media outlets ran deep dive segments. Fox News reached out to major news organizations, CNN, The New York Times, and The Washington Post. None were covering the story. In fact, older articles dismissing the allegations as conspiracy theories were being quietly edited. Social media companies flagged posts about the controversy as misinformation. Then an internal email leak from a major newsroom changed everything. The email reportedly instructed reporters, do not amplify the Ilhan Omar story. Editors want to avoid giving it traction. If covered, it must be framed as right-wing hysteria. To some, this was proof that the mainstream media wasn't just ignoring the story, they were actively suppressing it. But despite the media blackout, the momentum couldn't be stopped. Conservative lawmakers doubled down. Matt Gaetz took to social media. We're not letting this go. The DOJ must act. Are we a nation of laws, or a nation of double standards? Then, something even bigger happened. A whistleblower came forward. A former DOJ insider, speaking anonymously, made a shocking claim. Yes, there were past attempts to investigate Omar. And yes, they were shut down. The reporter pressed. Are you saying there was enough evidence to warrant an investigation? After a pause, the whistleblower answered, yes. The political fallout was immediate. Lauren Boebert demanded, if the DOJ buried this, we need to bring it back, now. Josh Hawley added, the FBI had no problem investigating Trump, but Ilhan Omar is off limits? This is why Americans don't trust their government anymore. Washington was panicking. The pressure was relentless. For weeks, the DOJ and FBI stayed silent, seemingly hoping the controversy would die down. But it wasn't going away. Then, under immense public pressure, congressional Republicans officially launched an inquiry. Speaker Mike Johnson made the announcement. If a sitting member of Congress has violated federal law, it must be investigated, no matter their party, no matter their status. The White House stayed quiet. The mainstream media attempted to downplay it. But behind the scenes, Washington was scrambling. Days later, the DOJ finally responded with a carefully worded statement. Based on new findings and public interest, we are reviewing the allegations regarding Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's immigration records. Not an investigation, just a review. A strategic move, buying time. But it was too late. The floodgates had opened. The press tried a new approach, shifting the narrative. CNN's lead anchor sighed dramatically. We've seen this before, a politically motivated attack on a woman of color in Congress. The New York Times ran an editorial titled, Omar's Persecution, a Right-Wing Witch Hunt. But the public was no longer buying it. Then the next bombshell. Independent investigators began looking not just at Omar's immigration history, but at her campaign finances. What they found was staggering. A Fox News report alleged, between 2018 and 2020, Ilhan Omar's campaign paid nearly $3 million to a political consulting firm. The firm was owned by her husband. Millions of dollars in donor money flowing directly to her spouse's business. Public outrage erupted. One conservative commentator put it bluntly, if a Republican did this, they'd be in federal prison. Nationwide, protests ignited. Crowds gathered outside the DOJ headquarters, holding signs that read, Equal Justice for All and Investigate Ilhan Now. Social media exploded. Hashtag Investigate Omar trended for days. Even moderate voices started speaking out. One independent journalist tweeted, I don't care if you're left or right, this looks like blatant corruption. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene took to the House floor. If the DOJ ignores this, they are proving once and for all that America has a two-tier justice system. Then, the real turning point. A second whistleblower stepped forward. This time, an ex-FBI agent. He provided internal memos showing multiple attempts to investigate Omar, shut down from the top. The American people had seen enough. Tucker Carlson delivered a chilling message. Now we have proof. The DOJ buried the story. The question is, why? Congress demanded emergency hearings. Washington was on edge. And for the first time, Ilhan Omar was out of options. Would she fight back? Or was her political career on the brink of collapse? This story is far from over.